Hi and welcome to the first month of English Blossom. This month's theme, when life gives you lemons, do an experiment. STEM is essential for all young learners and it's such a growth industry for their future careers as well. However, a lot of them feel like either it's too boring or that they have to be some kind of genius to do science, and that's just not true. So try putting this small, fun experiment into your lessons and you might find that you spark a little bit of confidence and also a bit of interest in the sciences.
For this experiment, you will need a lemon, baking powder or bicarbonate of soda, food colouring, dish soap, and a toothpick or a spoon. Start by cutting the top and bottom of your lemon. You want the lemon to be able to stand up and cut far enough into the lemon that you can reach the juices in the middle. Use your toothpick or spoon to give it a good poke so that you can release all of those juices in the middle. This is what's going to react with bicarbonate of soda. Then add your food colouring. This is optional, however it does make your reaction a little bit more colourful and impressive. Then add a squeeze of dish soap. This makes your reaction a bit frothier. And finally add your baking powder. It should start to fizz straight away, but if you have any problems, poke the lemon again to release some more of the juices and you can keep adding more baking powder.
There are many ways that you can adapt this experiment depending on what your classroom setup is. First of all, if you don't like the idea of your student cutting up the lemons, then you can always give out lemon slices. This also helps if you're in a situation where you have to be socially distant and you can't provide an individual lemon to every single student. Just make sure the lemon slice is nice and thick and do the experiment in the exact same way. What can also help if you want to completely avoid any cutting at all is to use lemon juice. It works in the exact same way, just make sure to use a small pot for it. You can also adapt for online lessons. So if you wanted to do this online but didn't want to see your students having to cut up at home, again, you can ask them to use lemon juice. And of course, I absolutely recommend that you write to parents in advance. Give them the list of what you'll be doing and the equipment that you need, and they'll set it up for you ready to go. I know parents are really busy, but in my experience, if you just explain to them what it is you're doing, they'll put in the effort to make sure their child is set up ready for the lesson. You can also use this as a distance learning or homework session. All you need to do is find the list of ingredients or use the student video from English Blossom, which is on our YouTube channel. So let's look at the English. The very first bit of English we'll look at is the pronunciation. Acid, alkali. You've got a great example of short and long I sounds. Acid, alkali. There's also the C and K sounds. Now these can be good to identify when we use C and when we use K. But we also make use of the soft C sound in acid, making that S sound. you can use the English Blossom flashcards to show the difference between the hard C, K, and the soft C, S. You can use the generic flashcards or the science-themed flashcards. Next, we can look at colours and numbers. This experiment is a great example of the pH scale. And the wonderful thing about the pH scale, it's all colours and numbers. So you can say that something is acid or alkali, or you can say something is red or 1 or purple 14. You have the English Blossom worksheet that you can use to go through the colours and numbers of the pH scale. You could also create your own pH scale in your classroom using coloured card. Next, we can look at comparisons and superlatives. Because we're using the pH scale, we can use terminology like low and high, lower, higher, lowest, and highest. Again, you can go to the English Blossom website and use the worksheet. This allows you to place different food items on the scale and say whether they are high or higher on the pH scale. Finally, if you've got older students and you want to take that comparison, the superlative, and take it even further, then why not do an experiment comparing different fruits? You can use things like pineapple slices or tomato or apple and have a look to see how acidic those different fruits are. What you're effectively looking for is which one has the biggest reaction. You can then use different tenses. Now this is where doing a hypothesis comes in. And again, you can use the English Blossom experiment card. Have your students think about what will happen. What's their opinion? Which one do they think will have the biggest reaction? This is where you can use future tense. You do the experiment and then you need to make a conclusion, which is basically saying whether you were right or not. But it looks at what did happen. The experiment was in the past. So which one was the biggest reaction? Was their hypothesis correct or incorrect? So you've got different tenses that you can use and comparisons and superlatives. So that's a brief overview of what you can do with this really simple experiment. Don't forget to go to the English Blossom website to get a full rundown of this lesson and access all of those different worksheets and flashcards. We'll be back next month with a brand new theme.